best stories of the season for the Giants. The former first-round pick is now making a name for himself at the front end of the rotation. And with strong showings in his last 3 starts, Stratton looked to start the day off right in game 1 of the doubleheader, Giants-Dodgers, and it's coming up next. We've got day baseball here at AT&T Park. Also night baseball coming up later as we get ready for the rivalry. The Giants and the Dodgers. Welcome to NBC Sports Bay Area, and it's powered by Xfinity. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dwayne Kuiper. Alongside me is Mike Krukow. Well, this isn't really an old-fashioned doubleheader. This is one of those where you split them up. So what does that mean? It means that you're going to lose some people in these games, like Buster Posey, Longoria. They are not in the lineup. But I still believe, Mike, and I know you do too, it boils down to starting pitching. And the Giants have a really good one today.
Well, it's really an interesting matchup because it matches up 2 first-round picks. Chris Stratton, the right-hander for the Giants, and Walker Buehler, the right-hander for the Dodgers. And both guys are pitchers that organizations expect a lot out of. It remains to be seen as to whether or not Buehler is going to justify that pick. So far, Chris Stratton has done that very thing. He's been very good and really has become one of the better fastball pitchers in the National League West. So a couple of youngsters out there doing battle. And the big key today, and it's important because it is a doubleheader, is starters have to eat up some innings and take some pressure off the bullpen.
All right, and we plan on eating up some innings as well here in this day game. All right, when we come back, we will have the lineups and the first pitch. And we'll do that right after this. Cruz Beach Boardwalk. The boardwalk is open. Visit beachboardwalk.com for park hours. 60 degrees here at the yard. You see the winds and humidity, and it is mostly cloudy. So here's Stratton as he's going to throw to Chris Taylor, and the first pitch is down low. So we get started at 105. here's Taylor. He takes the ball 2-0. Giants won last night. A come from behind win. Those are always very nice, especially to open up a long series. And right now, Chris Stratton has to throw a strike. Taylor was 0 for 5 last night.
Normally not much of a problem for Stratton to throw strikes. He's usually got a pretty good feel of the baseball.
And a strike. It's 3-1. Stratton has faced everybody in this Dodger lineup with the exception of Max Muncy. Line drive foul down the left field line. It's 3-2. All right, let's take a quick look at the Dodger lineup. You saw Taylor as he returns back to the box. It'll be Utley, Seager, and then Bellinger. Jock Peterson will hit 5th, and it's Barnes, Yasiel Puig. You see what he's done with a 7-game hitting streak at this park. Then Muncy, and then Walker Buehler. So Taylor back in the box. 2 for 9 lifetime against Stratton. And the walk.
3-2 curveball. Just missed. Take a look at the numbers for Chris Stratton on the hill today for the Giants. A 27-year-old, 6'2", 210-pound right-hander. 6 start, 2-1 with a 2.32 ERA, 24 strikeouts in 31 innings. He's a strike thrower. And with him, you'll see a low 90s fastball from a high 3/4 release. He's got a big, good curveball that's very good. He's got a slider and a changeup. He'll throw anything at any time. He and his wife, Mary Kate, celebrated the birth of their second child, Mary Bennett. Stratton, born Wednesday.
Here's Utley, who takes a strike, hitting at 277, a home run. He's got 9 driven in. Came in as a pinch hitter last night. And Strickland struck him out looking on a 3-2 pitch. Had 2 hits and 3 lifetime at bats against Stratton. Giants walked 7 Dodgers last night and won.
That's not going to happen very often. I mean, walks, they come back and haunt you, but when you give up 7 free passes, that's usually an automatic loss. But somehow the offense overcame it.
So right now, Stratton out of whack. It's 2-1.
It can be hard to hold your concentration when you come back off of paternity leave. Stratton had to go back into Mississippi for the birth of his daughter and then come back. So it's been a whirlwind last couple of days for him, you can imagine. Important today because it is a doubleheader that starting pitchers go deep and they eat up some innings.
So 2-1 with Seager on deck. Overshift is on for Utley. 3-1.
You're not going to get a lot of help from the strike zone today either. We had a real tight low strike zone last night with Adrian Johnson. It's the same today with Trip Gibson, the plate umpire. He likes the low strike and his corners are very, very tight.
You see Ortiz, Asanya, and Johnson from first to third. So it's 3-1. And Utley takes a strike. It's 3-2.
Like he was taken all the way.
Hey, welcome the Hornblower.
The California Hornblower just sort of easing on into McCubby Cove.
There it is.
There she is.
Taylor goes. Utley foul down the left field line.
Let's take a look at the Giants defensively today. Starting in the outfield from left to right, it'll be Slater, Blanco, and McCutchen. Crawford, Sandoval on the left side of the infield. Tomlinson and Bell on the right side. Nick Hundley, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs. Giants, a couple players put on the disabled list today. Joe Panic for a ligament in his thumb was injured, and that may be a while. And Mac Williamson on the DL for the concussion protocol.
3-2. Runner goes. High, ball 4.
2 times the payoff pitch in 3-2 counts have been with a breaking ball, and 2 times he's missed with it. So right away, Stratton has set up a stress inning, and he's got nobody to blame but himself.
Now you get the beef. Seager as a pinch hitter singled in the game last night.
Loves the first pitch. Loves it.
Anthony's. Dodgers have lost 3 straight. They're 4-5 on the road, and this is the beginning of a long road trip, 3-city trip. Seager fouls it out of play. It's 0-2. They're 7-9 against the West. The Giants are 7-10 against the West.
Corey Seager with the highest road batting average in the National League, hitting .375 away from Dodger Stadium.
Hundley keeps it close and a nice play.
How do you explain that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I guess you could explain it if you're playing in a bad hitter's ballpark, but Dodger Stadium is a pretty good place to hit.
So 1-2 to Seager. That foul off his foot.
Highest batters retired percentage-wise with runners in scoring position. Well, Stratton retires 86%. That's second in baseball. Only Blake Snell has a higher percentage at 92%.
Well, he gets to get after it right away here in this game. Out in front of home plate. Hundley says, I got it, and he makes the play, and it's almost as if it's a sacrifice bunt.
Same thing, productive out.
And that'll bring up Bellinger.
Well, the only significance of Merritt is that it was a good changeup, and it's the first one he's throwing in the strike zone.
Bellinger last night went 0 for 2. He walked a couple of times. Giants will play the infield back. And a high fastball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Bellinger has faced Stratton 6 times. He's had 2 hits and 6 at bats. And a healthy rip and a foul on the play. The breaking ball that was up, but it was away. Yeah, I had it, and then I didn't have it. I had a glove. If I'd have brought my glove, she probably was going to tell me, I told you to bring your glove.
Yeah, she's always laughing.
No. He didn't. 1-2.
Elevate across the letters. All right, let's take a look at our fan. First attempt today. Yeah. The whiff. Yeah, glove, he eats that for lunch.
Yeah, he does.
You think he's going to think about that the rest of the day?
He is right now. Line drive to right. And it's going to fall in front of McCutcheon. One run is going to score, and it's 1-0 LA. So one walk hurts Stratton. To see where that pitch was Bellinger just kind of fought it off.
Yeah, it was a breaking ball. It was on the inside corner. And in a 2-strike count, it's a pretty good dig. See the location of it. Pitch Cast is brought to you by SoFi, a modern finance company.
Here's Peterson now with runners at first and third. And a strike in its own one. Peterson came into the game after Kemp left injured. And Peterson blooped a single into center field. He was 1 for 2 with a walk. Stratton comes back, tries to throw it in the same spot. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Just underway here at AT&T Park.
Taking out the knee-high location inside. I mean, he's pitching for the strikeout. That's one of the things that has been impressive this year. When Stratton gets his strikeouts, it's usually when he's pitching for him. I mean, he doesn't try to pitch for a strikeout against every hitter like a lot of young pitchers will do.
Line drive to left, and that'll be a base hit. So 2-0.
And the bone crusher, both hits he's given up have come in 2-strike counts. And right now having a problem finishing guys off. The Dodgers have a chance to really go big. The one thing Bruce Bochy does not want to do, and that's get into the bullpen early. So Kurt Young going to come out. And, you know, this is one of those messages that pitching coaches give even young pitchers. They say, listen, you know you have to pitch. I need you to go out here and pitch. So no matter what happens, you're going to have to eat up some innings. And that's usually high motivation.
So here's Barnes, the 6th hitter to hit here in the first. Barnes is hitting .235. Played second base and went 0 for 3 and a couple of walks last night. One ball and no strikes. There's Yasiel Puig, who's on deck. Grant trying to get the strikeout or the double play ball. Two 2-0.
Boy, he is just not right. Not used to seeing him be behind consistently to hitters. It's been 1-0, 2-0, 3-1, 3-2. A lot of pitches. And really what is just has been so elusive is the feel of his off-speed stuff. His curveball, which he normally can put in the strike zone and on a corner anytime he wants, has not been there. And the changeup, same thing. It's not been able to throw a quality pitch with it. Even that fastball, I mean, he's set up on the outside corner and he gets the strike on the inside corner, so he's just not right.
So it's 3 balls and 1 strike. And the walk. Puig went 1 for 4 last night. Kind of in a tough spot here. You want to get out in front, and you know Puig is going to be laying in the weeds. No balls and 1 strike.
No, you're right. I mean, he's looking for a mistake middle away. That's where his strength is. But he's also a double play candidate.
So this is pitch number 34. Got him.
High fastball, a payout pitch right across the letters. And the first strikeout when he absolutely needed it, bases loaded. And that's our Xfinity fast pitch. It's powered by Xfinity high-speed internet. Huge out for Chris Stratton.
Yeah, he got himself, Mike, in a spot to do that because he got ahead in the count. So here's Muncy. That's a better pitch, and it's 0-1.
That's a changeup. That's the first time he's been able to get that in on a first pitch.
Low. We saw Muncy last night. I guess what we saw to Muncy was he was on deck. One and two.
First curveball he's been able to steal a strike with. Well, he got close to the plate. Looked good in the uniform.
I've always said, just because you're on deck doesn't mean you're going to hit.
It's true. Ooh, good pitch. They tried to backdoor with a breaking ball. You can see the frustration. Bruce Bochy's losing his mind. The strike zone today from Trip Gibson is going to be a tight one. You're not going to see many corners. Similar situation to the strike zone the Giants and Dodgers saw last night.
Well, now he's got to come in. Come in with what you got to get in.
Remember, he's had 2 walks already with 3-2 counts where he's missed with curveballs. I don't know if he has the confidence to throw that again. I mean, they know Muncy's not a great breaking ball hitter. Change up. The 4th walk of an inning. And more importantly, that's the 40th pitch. And on a day when you've got a doubleheader, the last thing Bruce Bochy wants to do is get into his bullpen early. And right now he's got no choice.
So here's Walker Buehler.
So Roberto Gomez heading down. You just have to regroup, and you just have to try and remind yourself of basic throwing skills. And now the Giants are going to use their second mound visit. This one really is to give Roberto Gomez a chance to get heated up. So this inning has been disastrous for Bruce Bochy. in the grand scheme of things. So I think Roberto Gomez is one of those guys. He needs like 6 throws. I'm good. And we really don't know what type of hitter Buehler is. But sure he had a take sign there.
Two and one. Out of play, 2-2. .44 pitches.
I mean, that's as bad as the 3 spot that's on the board right now. The pitch count. And look at the number of balls, 21.
And that'll end the inning. Well, the Giants know now they got work to do. It'll be the top of the order coming up.
Jack in the Box. Try the new Cholula Buttery Jack, part of the Buttery Jack family. Only at Jack in the Box.
Well, there you see outside of AT&T Park. 3-0 Dodgers. Here's the Giants lineup. No Posey or Longoria. It'll be Blanco, Crawford, and McCutchen. Brandon Belt. He's got the long ball going right now. Hey, Pablo gets a start. He's hitting 5th, and it's Slater, Hundley, and Tomlinson, and Stratton will hit 9th.
On the mound today for the Dodgers will be the rookie right-hander Walker Buehler, 6'1", 180-pounder, 23 years of age, out of Lexington, Kentucky. And his opening start this year, this is what he did in 5 innings. He shut out the Marlins on 4 hits, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. How does he do it? Well, you're going to see a fastball a lot of the time. It's right over the top. His release is way overhand. And you're going to see a fastball that's mid to high 90s. He also has a curveball, slider, and a changeup. He likes the slider. That's his most used specialty pitch.
Blanco hitting at 279. He's got an RBI. Two and out.
Buehler, former first-round pick by the Dodgers in 2015 out of Vanderbilt.
And he pours in a strike to Blanco. Beatty and Buehler were on the same team in college. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Well, that's an idea there where you got to get it going.
That was a new pitch for him, really. It's a 2-seam fastball that they're making him throw, or that he's been taught to throw.
High and foul.
Let's take a look at the Dodgers defensively. Starting in their outfield from left to right, it'll be Peterson, Taylor, and Puig. Best arm in right field. Seager and Muncie on the left side of the infield. Utley and Bellinger on the right side. Austin Barnes, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs.
In the dirt.
It's exactly what Austin Barnes wanted to do to start out his day. Get a 98-mile-an-hour skimmer that unloads into his shin guard. Fastball.
Into center field and a base hit. Here's our smart play, and it's brought to you by your Northern California Ford dealer. Last night, Crawford, off a hinge in Ryu, is second of the season. So taking a look at Walker Buehler for the first time. Blanco goes, and the throw, and it's going to be late. Well, we know what the scouting report is.
Well, he can be very deliberate. I mean, he's a guy that's got two different types of moves. One's slow, one's fast. But it looked to me like they had the tell as to when he was going to go. And Gregor Blanco with a great jump.
So 1-0 to Crawford. 2-0 to Crawford.
Generally speaking, you're going to see teams challenge Austin Barnes, the Dodgers catcher, more than they would Yasmani Grandal. Grandal has a great arm. Barnes relies more on quickness, getting rid of the ball. He doesn't have a plus arm. It's an average arm.
Nice healthy rip. It's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Generally speaking, the higher up you go with your release, straighter the ball will be. And that's where Buehler is. And that's why Dodgers have taught him a two-seam fastball to give him a little movement. General strike there. Think about Crawford. He doesn't say a whole lot. But he did not agree with that call. But with Trip Gibson, you're likely to get a little more width on the low strike than the high strike. But right now, really Buehler, the only pitch that he really can rely on getting in the strike zone is that fastball. Curveball is not yet there for him. Slider perhaps a bit more control than the curveball.
High and foul and out of play. And it stays at 3-2. McCutchen to follow, and then Belt. Foul back. Crawford just got a piece.
I mean, that's a perfect pitch at 98 location-wise. Do well to fight that one off. So kind of as expected in the 3-2 count, the get it in count, and he's coming at him with the one pitch he knows he can throw a strike with, and that's that fastball. Not that he's actually up there kind of gimping into the strike zone. 97 and 98, those are 2 healthy fastballs.
On the ground, Utley will make the play, and Blanco moves to third.
And that's the first curveball that he's gotten in. Crawford hit it on the button, but it's a productive out. They spear the high backhander. Not going down and need to wrestle it down. Give up 3 in the first is kind of important to answer.
Yeah, get 1 back, get 2 back. Infield is playing back for McCutcheon, who's hitting 198. And he takes low. McCutcheon hit in the 2 spot in the lineup last night. Drew a walk, went 0 for 3. So 2-0. Here's where McCutcheon can cheat a little bit on a fastball.
Put the ball in play. Avoid the strikeout.
Spins one 2-0.
That's respectful. And you're a former MVP, though. I mean, you kind of earned that respect.
Two and 2.
And now you get a little rubberneck back with McCutcheon. And the reason he doesn't like it is because we've seen this pitch in the at-bat. It was already called a ball.
They're going to even stretch it out more. Why not, right?
Well, if a guy's going to give you a gift on the outside part of the plate, and you can throw a pitch 6 inches that's not close to the strike zone and have a strike called, you got to go back out there. But now at 3-2, he's got to get in.
And the walk. So here's Belt. Had a couple of hits last night, including a big bunt to open up the 7th inning. And the Giants scored their runs to take the lead. He will not bunt here. Foul back. No balls and 1 strike.
Stress innings for both starters.
Out of play, 0-2. And we'll go back to what you said with McCutcheon. Important here that you put the ball in play. McCutcheon nearly got picked off.
There's kind of a gray area there when you don't know a pitcher, you don't know his pickoff move. When you want to extend and get a good lead, and boy, McCutcheon almost gets caught. Dodgers are looking at it. They will not challenge.
Foul back. Pretty good healthy rip by Belt.
Well, there's nothing special about the location on that 0-2 fastball. I mean, it was right down the middle.
On the ground, foul. Belt in a battle. McCutchen with his lead. Watching Bellinger. He just took his glove off. Like, I just threw 99 over to first and he caught it right in the pocket. Oh, and 2. 1 and 2.
You know, guys that throw hard, I mean, they just throw hard. Whether it be to a catcher during a pitch, to a first baseman on a pickoff, playing catch first thing in the morning, they just throw hard.
Got him.
An 89-mile-an-hour breaking ball, and I mean a good one. He had count leverage, sitting on top of Belt with a 1-2 count. Had a chance to go beneath the zone. And I don't know if he can throw a better breaking ball than this. That is a devastating snap on that breaking ball.
Well, Sandoval, see if you can save the day. Blanco at third, McCutchen at first. Up the middle and a base hit. And the Panda comes through. It's 3-1.
That is such a big hit for so many reasons. One, you answer the 3 spot that the Dodgers put on the board at the top of the inning. 2, it happens in a 2-out situation. 3, it's going to continue to run the pitch count up for Buehler. And this is the first breaking ball he sees off him ever, and not a bad one. It's not a hanger. It's right down there below the knees.
It's kind of what we've seen Pablo do with those pitches a lot in his career.
A good bad ball hitter, especially low.
Here's Slater. Slater struck out in his only at bat last night.
Hey, 30 pitches.
And the 1-0 in the dirt. Here comes McCutchen. It's 3-2.
Giants will take the gift, and that'll make you get out of your seat and start clapping your hands if you're a Giants fan. And not a whole lot that Austin Barnes can do. You can see the over-the-top, straight-down bite. And as this ball comes up, I mean, it hits Barnes in the chest protector. And an easy score with the speed of McCutchen.
High and foul down the right field line and out of play. So the walk to McCutchen. He comes around to score. It's 2 balls and a strike.
And Austin Slater have been putting up great numbers in Sacramento. Hit .358, 2 doubles, 3 triples.
Hits this one on the ground to Bellinger. And he's off the bag. Everybody's safe. And the inning continues. No argument from Buehler. So clearly he thought that he missed the bag.
Roberto Ortiz, the first base umpire, making the call. And never got there. Tried to slide his foot into it. The Dodgers are going to look at it, but can see he never touched the base. I mean, that's a good call. So it's going to be a base hit for Slater.
By the way, that's how you hit 360.
Well, yeah, you need a few breaks like that. So now Rick Honeycutt's going to go out and try and do what Kurt Young did and just calm a young pitcher down as this inning's going against him.
I got it. I think I got it. No.
I don't got it. And you know what? Credit Slater for running hard on it.
Absolutely. Well, Hundley is the one guy in this lineup that you don't judge his average by how he's hitting the ball.
And the Dodgers get somebody up in their bullpen.
Who would have thought? Giants have the tying run at third, and Hundley has got a chance to tie it up.
It's Ross Stripling throwing in the Dodgers pen.
Down the right field line, into the corner, and Puig caught it. It's a great catch. And he's going to get up. And my goodness, did he make a great play.
Well, he takes on that little shed. And I mean, he really slams into it. I mean, that is a brilliant play. And he paid a price for it.
Giants score twice. It's 3-2 after one.
Moves that the Giants are just not happy about. Unfortunately, Joe Panik placed on the 10-day disabled list with a sprained left thumb. Mac Williamson has been placed on the concussion disabled list. Mark Melanson moved to the 60-day DL. Austin Slater, you just saw him, he was recalled and called up. Alan Hansen. Dwayne and Mike.
Yeah, it was one of those days you get to the park and you're like, what? Panik got hurt? Oh, man. Williamson looked good last night, just sitting in the dugout. He's out. So all I told Bruce Bochy before the game was, you're just going to have to manage better.
Well, there's your challenge, Skip.
So here's Taylor, who opened up the game with a walk. And a strike from Chris Stratton, who's going to try to settle down here in the second. Good pitch.
Yeah, that's the kind of curveball you come to expect from Stratton. I mean, that was just a nice, quick little snapper on the outside corner. Perfect location.
Hit well into left center field. Slater back at the wall. Gone. And it came on an 0-2 pitch. Wow. His 4th home run of the year.
Well, the point you make, it came in an 0-2 pitch. And it's just an absolute hanging curve right in the middle of the strike zone. And Chris Taylor, to his credit, I mean, he's not going to miss the gift. I mean, that was meant to be a curveball that was going to break below the strike zone.
So here's Utley, who drew a walk in the first. Utley eventually scored after the walk in the first. With Seager to follow. Hit into the gap. Slater's going to get to it. Utley's going for 2, and he's going to make it. This was the play that Puig made.
Well, it was a spectacular defensive play, but here's the price he paid for it. I mean, he takes on the end of that little shed as it juts out, and I mean, he smoked into it.
And he hit that corner, and usually those corners are not soft. So here's Seager, home run and a double to open up the second. And a fastball high, 1-0. And a breaking ball for a strike.
Stratton trying to get some consistency with the location. I mean, just right now, he's not completely able to trust what he's doing out there. I mean, we know in watching him, when he gets ahead of a guy 0-2, 1-2, he doesn't miss in the strike zone, ever. It gives you an idea of how out of sorts he is. And once again, Roberto Gomez heading down to get loose.
Got him.
Big strikeout. A non-productive out. Well, the San Diego Padres will close out the homestand and coming here on Monday. We'll be here Monday through next Wednesday. The dynamic deal ticket offers are available for $8. As low as $8. Go to sfgiants.com/dynamic deals and check it out.
Bellinger knocked in a run with a single in the first. And it's 0-1.
At least now he's throwing some good curveballs, but you know, like we saw in the 0-2 mistake to Traylor when he had just throwing a great 0-1 curveball. I mean, it was kind of a surprise to see him hang the next one.
Oh, 0-2. out of play, so Stratton going at him.
Looks like that little half swing that Bellinger will have. He's trying to throw the ball left side of the infield. See him do that a lot in 2 strike counts. Because of that reputation, the Giants do not have as extreme a defense to the pull side of the field. See Sandoval playing pretty normal.
No balls and 2 strikes. Utley at second, a run in. High and deep into right center field. McCutcheon's going to look up, and it one hops triples alley. It's going to be the 3rd extra base hit of the inning, and this one's a triple. And just like that, the Dodgers get those 2 runs back. It's 5-2.
And once again, Kurt Young going to come out. This is the 3rd mound visit already, and we're in the 2nd inning. Remember, you only get 6. And Chris Stratton is not able to make the pitch locations he wants to make, and when he does, he's not putting the same zip that we normally see on it, and he's not fooling the Dodgers.
So the hitter is Peterson. Peterson lined a single to left in the 1st. Giants play the infield in, and it's down low, 1-0.
And you get squeezed. And that's just kind of how it goes against him. It's not your day.
Puig is on the top step. And it's high, 2-0.
Gomez is ready. 2nd hump of the day.
Driven to right, and this is going to be off the bricks, and most likely this is going to be another triple. As Peterson's digging for 3rd, and the throw is late, and another extra base hit.
And that's going to be it for Stratton. Reluctantly, Bruce Bochy's going to have to come out and take him out. And that's the last thing he wanted to do, is lose his starter in the 2nd inning.
When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your trusted oil change tune-up and smog experts. We'll be back. first and 3 now here in the second. And there's Roberto Gomez, who's going to try to calm things down.
The time that he has come into a game, remember he broke Scottsdale and he opened up the season with the Giants. He got sent back down. He's a hard thrower. He got a curveball, slider, changeup. He can run it up there mid to high 90s with velocity.
Giants will play the infield in, and Barnes will look at a strike.
That'll give you some confidence, flopping that curveball in the strike zone for a first pitch strike.
Barnes walked in the first. In the inning, home run, double, strikeout, triple, triple. One and two.
Nasty fastball right there. Just catching that outside corner. One thing about Trip Gibson is you don't have to be between the knees of the catcher to get a strike. He catches this thing almost outside his right knee pad.
And he got him.
Take a look at the motion. Very tall pitcher. He's 6'6". And he gets his release point out in front of his stride step. I mean, he's got pretty good command of the low part of the zone. That is his key.
Here's Puig, who struck out in the first. Taps this one foul off his foot. He's an accident waiting to happen today.
He is an accident waiting to happen. And he jarred his shoulder and his knee running the wall. Here he hits a ball off his foot. Let's see where he gets him. Two-seamer. Looks like the left ankle. He is not having any fun.
Nor am I right now, to be honest with you.
Oh, it gets better.
No balls and one strike. Oh, 2.
Well, if you have a guy that fouls a ball off his foot, an inside fastball, throw another one.
I think this is more about running into the wall. But I'm not buying it if I'm the pitcher.
No, you can't.
One and 2.
You can't assume the guy's dinged up. Got to make a good pitch, and I think that sinker, back foot sinker, throw that thing down and in, and you might get him again.
Hit well into left center field, but Blanco's got a beat on it, and that'll end the inning. Well, Giants now have more work to do. It's 6-2 Dodgers.
grind that comes through every time. See your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places.
It is 6-2 here in the bottom of the second. Kelby Tomlinson's going to lead things off. Tomlinson had a big hit in the win last night. Shoots this one fouling out of play. We do have some changes for you. Moving from first base to right field is Bellinger. Farmer's at third, and Muncy moves from third to first. And the pitch is high.
It's not an easy take right there. 8-0-2 pitch.
Rolled to short for Seager. And they get Tomlinson. Here's Gomez.
You always wonder when you see a relief pitcher come up for an at-bat as to whether or not Bruce Bochy's going to let him swing.
Maybe not.
Well, I mean, remember Dan Runsler, Milwaukee. Everything was going great. It was fun to watch him hit. Then he took a swing and he ruined his knee, and that was it. On the disabled list. Got a chance to swing there.
Santiago Casilla in Denver.
Casilla trying to leg out an infield base hit, blows a hamstring.
When he was told,
don't swing and don't run.
not to swing. So here's Blanco. Blanco singled and scored in the first. And he bunts at it and misses. It's 0-1. There's a little guy that he doesn't really care what the score is.
No, he's happy, and there's noise and there's colors, and it's fun.
And a bunt. And a hit.
Well, you want to see perfect on a bunt. Well, this is the effort from Grego Blanco. But I like it. I mean, he didn't get it done with one pitch, and he tried it again. You don't see that very often. And Buehler really should have just taken a bite out of it.
And it is hard to deaden a guy that throws as hard as Buehler, but Blanco did a good job. Crawford rolled out. That's going to hit the ball hard to Utley as he looks at a strike. Blanco stole a bag in the first. See if he goes again. No swing. 1 ball and 1 strike.
With Blanco, I mean, he's got the green light. If he gets a good jump, he can go on his own. He doesn't need to get a sign.
Crawford digs it out, and a little looper foul down the right field line. Yeah, that would make it feel better.
Now this one
Yeah,
seems
I
harder.
want to get that. I want to get that.
One and two to Crawford. 2-2.
Pretty good pitch. I mean, I tell you, Buehler's making some really tough pitches with 2 strikes. I mean, I'm impressed with some of the takes that the Giants have had.
Blanco got a poor jump, so it was wise that Crawford fouled that off. Bit of a delayed jump. Either that or Buehler went to the plate very quickly.
You're throwing hard back foot sliders. Again, these guys don't have a lot of history against Buehler. And when you have a power arm, and you don't have that much time to decide. And high fastball that rides up above the letters in a 2-strike count, that's a tough one to lay off of. You can see why this young right-hander has the strikeout totals that he has.
Got him, and that'll end the inning. He goes with the high fastball. After 2, 6-2 Dodgers.
Champions Cup. Earthquakes versus Manchester United. July 22nd, Levi Stadium.
6-2 Dodgers. Third inning already is Muncy's going to stand in. And Muncy looks at a strike. Muncy drew a bases loaded walk in the first. And another strike.
Good curveball.
Buehler on deck.
Two power arms going at each other right now with Buehler and Gomez.
Six runs on 6 hits. The Dodgers. 2-2. High and deep into right center field. McCutchen again going back. And this is off the bricks right to Blanco. And Muncy is going to wisely put on the brakes. Monday the 30th is our annual Bay Area Unite with the Warriors presented by Pete's Coffee. It's the special package event. You get a ticket, you get a Giants Warriors reversible scarf. sfgiants.com/special events.
Dodgers definitely have brought their hitting shoes on today.
The last 5 hits have been extra base hits as Belt has it, checks the runner, and Buehler bunt did not work. So here's Taylor. Taylor has walked and homered. On the ground, foul.
Our ball due down here today.
Baldo's going to have to get that because Slater's not.
Yeah, that's too far. Henry will shoes him. Got to work out in. I mean, that's what you want to do if you're a ball dude. You want to get up out of the chair at least once. Took his time. Sometimes you think Andy Warhol was right. You do get 15 minutes.
Good pitch on the 2. And the 0-2. Foul back. And the 0-2 is rolled to Crawford. As he goes to his left, he will glove it and throw it. And Taylor is retired. Nice play, 2 outs. Here's Utley. Utley has walked and he's doubled. Gomez first pitch is a called strike.
Yeah, nice feel of that breaking ball. Had a lot of first strikes in the count with it. And that's kind of his key. At times when we see him be good, he has command of that curveball. He's taking his time. He's allowing a chance for his arm to get up in good position to throw that effectively.
Fouled out of play, 0-2.
And that's kind of where Gomez is at. I mean, he's 6'6". There's a lot of moving parts out there. And at times they're not always in sync. But the one pitch that does tell you when he's in a pretty good rhythm is that curveball.
Utley stays alive as he pokes that 95-mile-an-hour fastball out of play.
All right, let's take a look. I had it at, single. Kevin Mitchell style. Well, and that's where it winds up. That's a good place. Nevertheless, good play.
One and two. Gomez is going to have to eat up some innings.
Now, if you're a long reliever, you should be able to throw 3 innings. You should have 60 pitches in your arm.
What does Utley do?
Well, he thought it was strike 3. Gomez thought it was strike 3. Everybody thought it was strike 3 except Trip Gibson. If this ball gets caught by Hundley, I'm sure it would have been called strike 3. Even if it doesn't get caught. I mean, that is in the strike zone. And you can see the reaction from Roberto Gomez. What do I have to do? But Gibson, I think, reacting to the fact that the ball was dropped, does not give the strike.
Bruce Bochy, this the other day, was telling us about umpires that sit that far on the inside. They have a hard time calling the outside.
Well, that's certainly been the case today. We've seen much more first base side strikes than outside or third base side strikes. But when a hitter takes the pitch and takes off to first base, I mean, he's telling you that it was a strike.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Hit to right. And another one that is going to be an extra base hit. Unbelievable.
Well, Roberto Gomez is steaming right now. That's one thing you learn as a young pitcher. I mean, you can get mad, but you got to get over it. So Chase Utley given second life, and he takes advantage of it.
So here's Seager. The last 6 hits for the Dodgers have been extra base hits. A home run, 3 doubles, and 2 triples. Ball and 1 strike.
Good changeup. And that has been a project pitch too for Gomez. And that one he just threw was a good one.
Foul off of Seager's foot.
One thing Gomez cannot do whenever this inning is over, he cannot walk off that mound, look at Gibson and say something. He cannot run a chance of getting kicked out of this game. Take a look and see where this one hits. Right on the side of his instep.
And a base hit up the middle. Here comes Utley, and it's 8-2. And the hitter will be Bellinger.
So another mound visit. Why not? Giants have been pretty stingy with mound visits all year long. We haven't seen them go through mound visits like we have seen them go through mound visits today all year. And you sense what Kurt Young is thinking about. He's thinking about a young pitcher out there steaming about a miscalled strike 3 on Chase Utley and how it's affecting his concentration to the other hitters.
And he's also barking at Gibson right now. He's thrown Kurt Young out of the game.
Well, Kurt Young's going to go and get some money's worth right now.
Bruce Bochy may end up being out of this one too.
Kurt Young's pretty mellow. You know what he's saying? He goes, you know what? If you watched Utley, he called the pitch. All you got to do is react to him. He's walking back to the dugout inning over. And you can see the frustration. And it's not just Kurt Young. It's all in. Everybody in that Giants dugout. But, and here's the pitch we're talking about. They set an inside target. I mean, it's right in the strike zone.
And Mr. Utley just threw Trip Gibson under the bus.
Well, I mean, it's a squirrely strike zone with Gibson. It always has been. It floats around. It's inconsistent. It gets tight. It's a tough one to pitch to.
It's too bad.
Well, some days you get strike zones like that. I mean, that's all part of it. I mean, when you have a strike thrower out there, you don't worry so much about a tight strike zone or one that floats around because they can usually adjust to it. Guys like Cueto, Stratton, normally, control guy.
And a first pitch strike to Bellinger, who's 2 for 2.
But it's, you know, it's just something that you have to deal with. You have to hold your composure.
One ball and one strike.
You kind of have to think of it as like bad weather conditions, like a cold day. You just have to deal with it. Because you figure that everybody has to deal with it.
2-1.
I mean, if it was a strike zone that was being called differently for you specifically, you might have a problem with it. But you know, everybody's under the same rules, the same strike zone. It's part of the game.
Two balls, two strikes. Unfortunately, what people have to understand, people here at the ballpark, is they're not going to see a lot of changes in the coming out of the bullpen due to the fact that there's a game tonight. So it's going to be a lot of Gomez and a lot of Derek Law. His belt is going to grab this one, and that'll end the inning. And here's where you can't say anything if you're Gomez, because they need him to stay in the game.
to do. Vote. NBCSportsBayArea.com/AST. It's the 12th season of the program, and it does recognize that teachers make a difference. Winner wins $20,000 for his or her school, so please vote.
Here's McCutcheon. Giants still have plenty of time to make a game of this as McCutcheon takes a strike. He drew a walk in the first. Belt on deck. High and foul and out of play.
Saw the look on the face of McCutcheon. He's got in the batter's box and it was like bang bang 0-2. I mean, he's hitting 198 and when you're scuffling a little bit, it just seems like 0-2 is like the quickest thing ever. It's almost like you get in the box and it's 0-2.
It's true. And McCutcheon gets the big breaking ball and swings and misses. Strikeout number 4, and here's Belt. Dad, he's got the French fry thing going, and that always worked in our family.
Yeah, it's the perfect food. Oh yeah, not in any hurry either.
Well, if you're a hitter, be ready for the fastball.
No, I think the way that you approach this guy is you got to think fastball just because of the velocity. You got to cheat a little bit, get it going. Get it started early. I mean, it's been sort of a high school pitching equation. Get ahead with a fastball and then throw that big curveball. There you go. Psyched.
Foul again. Well, trying to get on for the Panda. Taps this one slowly to Buehler, who throws him out. Here's Sandoval, who knocked in a run with a hit in the first. And the strike. Swinging a foul. Healthy rip by Sandoval. Sandoval's base hit was his 9th of the year. Now hitting at 265. Fouls this one back.
Buehler's done a good job of getting ahead of Giants hitters this inning. He's had 3 hitters, 3 0-2 counts.
Sandoval, a little jam shot, dug out by Farmer, and that'll end the inning. So nice inning for Buehler. Fourth inning coming up. It's 8-2 Dodgers. T-Mobile, one of the biggest stories of the game last night was the Giants' 4-1 rally in the 7th. Brandon Belt a leadoff bunt single. Yerkes Hernandez an RBI single. Thomas in a pinch hit RBI double. A walk by Baez and a sacrifice fly by Panic. And what did the Giants do? They won the ball game.
Yeah, it was a nice comeback victory for the Giants.
Here's Peterson. Peterson takes down low. Peterson a single and a triple and a strike.
Yeah, I like that changeup. We've seen him throw that thing more today than we've seen him in other outings.
Good pitch, 1-2.
Gomez is thinking that one I threw Utley was better than that one.
I think you're right. He was thinking that.
Somehow you just don't let it go.
You don't.
Especially when it costs you a couple earned runs.
Oh, plus you make a pitch on a guy that's been around a long time. That's a good player. You execute. You do everything right.
Yeah, it's just not fair. Oh well, it's baseball.
So 3-2 to Peterson. Slowly hit Crawford charging on the bare hand and the throw, and it's not in time. So I'm not going to write anything down yet on my scoreboard.
Well, watching Brandon Bell, I mean, he came out the bag and he pointed to the bench immediately, saying, "You better look at this one." He thought he had him. No, I don't think they'll challenge it.
I don't either. on second thought.
Well, upon further review, Giants are going to challenge it. Bochy's thinking, what do I have to lose? And that's the first hitter you face in an inning. You're down by 6. And that is our replay review, is presented by Xfinity. All right, one more look. Well, I can see why they challenged looking at that one.
I can see why Sean Dunson and Chad Chop said, yeah, let's go for this.
Yeah, that look right there looked like the Giants got him. But when you start talking about how they see it in New York, well, I don't know. They showed the replay that we saw here at the ballpark, and the Giants fans reacted like they believed he was out. This is their best argument right here. It's got to be in the back of the glove. And I think from that look right there, you would say that he's out. This is the first look we saw.
Well, maybe this is one of those that's too close to call, Mike.
Well, that's a good point. Yep. You know what, though? I mean, you look at those three, and one clearly looked like he was out. I mean, how many do you need to have
to prove that wrong?
Yeah, I know. That's what I don't get about it.
Here's Barnes. Barnes takes a strike.
So the Dodgers, for the 4th consecutive inning in a row, they've gotten their leadoff hitter on base. And in each one of those instances, that leadoff runner scored.
So Barnes takes it on the shoulder. And that'll bring up Farmer. So Farmer batting for the first time. And tight. Farmer in the game last night went 3 for 4. He had a really good night at the plate. Tight again, 2-0.
There's some kind of difference in the release of Gomez. I mean, he's starting to fly that shoulder a little bit. That usually is the first sign of fatigue. When you start to miss inside, you're not finishing your pitches, you're missing the low part of the strike zone.
On the ground, foul past Sandoval.
All good. Henry Wilshues, and he could have been somebody there, Henry.
More work for Henry.
He has to know you can get those uniforms dirty. But hey, found a good home for it. A little girl power.
Foul again. .46 pitches now for Gomez.
Yeah, a little girl power. That's strong. That's strong mojo.
Three straight fouls past the coaching box, and it stays at 2-2.
Chris Woodward, third base coach for the Dodgers, making a play there.
Now it's 3-2. So Gomez has got to come in. I want to start out this inning with the bases loaded. He does, and Sandoval's got it, and that's a double play.
Now Jock Peterson violating the code. If you're a base runner and there's a line drive hit, you got to freeze, let it get to the outfield. Nice spear job there from Sandoval and a nice little flip throw. That's what happens. You violate a rule, you got to head back to the dugout. Although freezing on a line drive isn't altogether that easy.
Here's Muncy, who's walked and doubled. And a strike. Stratton got knocked out with 1 out in the second. His line is he gave up 6 earned runs in an inning and a third. Out of play. And all the starts that we've seen in this was so uncharacteristic. Didn't even look like the same guy out there.
Yeah, I think it had everything to do with being tired. I mean, he'd gone back to Mississippi. He was there with the birth of his second child. And he flies back. And you run on adrenaline, you're pumped up, and it's, you know, it catches up to you. I mean, over the years, we've watched guys experience the same thing. It's been our understanding it kind of goes either way. Guy either is going to come back and throw a 2-hit shutout and strike out 14, or he isn't going to make the third inning.
Well, Giants really didn't have the luxury of having him miss a start, given that this is a doubleheader. They've got to use somebody out of their minor league system against the Padres. Muncy takes a call third. It remains 8-2.
And Amy Gutierrez was very excited about it because her son Zach is part of the group that played today. Zach, son of Amy G, and Paul Gutierrez, a writer here in the Bay Area. Very proud of Zach. And by the way, Zach's sister Grace, she was also here today, and she was proud of her brother as well.
Yes, it wasn't that long ago. They were just little kids. They are not little kids anymore. They're going to be tall children. A chance to. Gracie came into the booth for a little bit. There's a call strike to Slater. And look how tall Gracie is. There's just a slight resemblance of both those children to Paul.
Well, they're great kids.
Paul's got the strong gene.
Amy brought the height.
There's Slater. Slater had an infield hit in the first. Out of play, 2-2.
The familiar swing of Austin Slater. We really fell in love with his swing last year when he got called up. Stays inside the ball beautifully, uses right field beautifully. I mean, he's more of a doubles hitter than a home run hitter, but he's an average hitter. I mean, he hits for average. Dodgers pretty respectful of this guy's reputation. They're pretty straight up.
Got him.
That was perfection from Walker Buehler. 5th strikeout. Set up in the outside corner, and Barnes doesn't even move the glove. Bang.
Here's Hundley. Hundley was retired on that great play by Puig. That eventually that and a ball he hit off his foot knocked him out of the game. And Hundley breaks his bat, and he's going to have a thing. He's owed a few of those. And here's Tomlinson. Now we're going to see Derek Law get on down to the bullpen. I think it goes like this: if Tomlinson were to reach, then you might see a pinch hitter. If he doesn't, then maybe Gomez hits. Just guessing.
That's right.
And a strike. Nope, off the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. This will be Muncy. Muncy will make the catch.
Hey, hot dog!
Well, we talked about Walker Buehler being from Vanderbilt. And take a look at some of the arms that have come out of Vanderbilt. David Price, Mike Minor, a 7th overall pick. Price, 1st overall pick. Sonny Gray, an 18th pick. Carson Fulmer, 8th pick. Walker Buehler. And the Giants' Tyler Beatty, also a 1st-round pick. Drew Verhagen from Detroit. Pretty good legacy program. Well, your call was right. 2 outs are going to let Gomez hit.
So a couple of strikes to Gomez, who struck out in the 2nd. Look out. And the breaking ball ends the inning. 5th inning coming up. It's 8-2 Dodgers.
For Giants fans, so we thought we could lighten up a little bit, get a chuckle. We certainly got a laugh last night as we got to know one of the grounds crew members. There's Rob. Now Rob's helping out a fan in distress who has dropped their cap all the way out in dead center field. He had to sprint, fellas, to the cap and back into the dugout, and he was absolutely gassed to the point that Gregor Blanco had to bring him a cup of water, and he told me, hey, I'm a big-boned 46-year-old man who does not ever have to run, but out of pure pride, he made it. He heard the crowd cheering him on, and he kept saying to himself, do not fall. Rob, job well done.
Yeah, it was exciting last night.
I say the same prayer.
I think what also Rob was looking at is while he was running, not a whole lot of people realized that he was on the field. Puig was in the batter's box. And
hey, he had his moment. I thought he shined.
he did. Two and one to Walker Buehler. 3-1 to Walker Buehler. Sandoval's got it on the 3rd hop.
Now let's finish off the tail end of the sprint. Running backwards there, leaking oil. I don't see any of that. I think he's doing pretty good. Just looking for some air. That's all he needed.
Here's Taylor. Chris Taylor homered in the 2nd. And he rolls it foul.
I think you get to a certain age and sprints just sort of leave the equation. For some guys, it's 30, some guys 40. I mean, you know, some guys this year, 100 years old, they had a sprint contest. So, I mean, some guys it never leaves it.
I got caught about 2 years ago, maybe 3. Do you remember the I don't know if it was one of the cable outlets that did a special on Archie Manning and the Manning family. And throughout this special that they did, they showed Archie, because this is a base hit into center field. Archie Manning's exactly my age. But they showed him jogging, and they showed him where he would jog for about 100 yards, just, you know, not a heavy jog. And then he would walk, and then he would jog. And I thought, you know what, if he can do that, I can do that. So the very next day, off I go.
Yep.
Well, little did I know that all of that was probably digitally where he jogged once, but it made it look like he was jogging all the time, correct?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, I couldn't walk because I tried to do it. And I thought, well, that's a lesson learned. It was like Leonard Coppett when, after a heart attack, and they told him he needed to get on that exercise bike, and he fell off and broke his leg and said, that's a sign.
That's it for me. That's an omen from heaven.
So, Archie Manning, if you're watching, you got me. Utley takes a pitch close. I don't know if there was ever a quarterback that got beat up quite like he did.
He was fun to watch, though.
It really was.
Trip. Trip Gibson played umpire. I think he should just let Utley call the strikes.
Yeah.
It would be better off for Roberto Gomez.
Hand him the mask. Runner goes. So the steal for Taylor.
Taking advantage of a pitcher who wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to him.
He's probably tired. He's thrown 65 pitches.
Bochy needs Gomez to get through this inning just to protect his bullpen for the nightcap.
That'll help on a 3-1 pitch, a pop-up. Say hey 2 for Tuesday next Tuesday. The first is the Giants take on the Padres. It's Say hey 2 for Tuesday. 2 for 1 Giant Dogs at all doggy diner locations at AT&T Park. Visit sfgiants.com for tickets. Here's Seager.
Well, you think about it, every doubleheader that's ever been scheduled should be played on a Tuesday. 2 for Tuesday.
Or Thursday. Well, didn't it start with a T?
Well, no, but Tuesday.
Base hit. Here comes Taylor. And it's 9-2.
You can get thirsty on a Thursday.
I got you.
So Derek Law heading down for his second hump. Into the Giants bullpen.
Here's Bellinger. Bellinger has 2 hits. No balls and 1 strike. Here's the thought. Dodgers are going to take a little out of their swings.
When? November?
The ball's in 1 strike.
I mean, that's the thing up here. When you get a guy out there who's gassed, and clearly Roberto Gomez is, I mean, next pitch will be 70. That's extending his pitch count the most he's had in a while, maybe ever. Do you think there's one guy feeling sorry for him in a gray uniform today? Absolutely not. This is their opportunity to pad their stats, have a day. You'll never see anybody at this level just go up there and make it out on purpose just because a guy out there is struggling. And it is not going to happen. And you wouldn't expect it to happen.
Well, they just got the sign that Derek Law is ready to go.
This would be his last year then.
Out of play, 3-2.
Well, I mean, Roberto Gomez has done what Bruce Bochy absolutely had to have. He had to have some guy come out of the bullpen and give him 3+ innings. Let's take a look at fan catch here. Well, he almost had it.
A fan pickup.
Bring your glove, Meat.
And the walk. And that's it. So Derek Law is going to try to take the innings the rest of the way when it's time for a change. Thanks, Speedy. Oil Change and Auto Service, your trusted oil change tune-up and smog experts.
LLC.
So here, an ugly one. It's 9-2 Dodgers. We're just in the 5th inning. Jock Peterson will be the hitter. A run in for the Dodgers. They've scored in every inning except the 4th.
Welcome back to Derek Law. 6th game that he has come into. Baseball and doubleheaders, they allow you to have a 26th man on your roster. Normally you use it for another pitcher. And that pitcher, that 26th man today, is Derek Law.
And you get that option for situations precisely like this.
Well, and I think it's one way where baseball's gotten smarter about protecting its players. Doubleheaders, especially day-night, your staff's exposed. I mean, you just watched Roberto Gomez do something that was really gutsy. I mean, he really extended his pitch count. I mean, he was out of gas before he even threw a pitch into this inning. But he'll get some handshakes and pats on the back for helping this club out.
This should end the inning as Blanco settles underneath it and he makes the catch. Top of the order coming up for the Giants. It's 9-2 Dodgers.
Of next week. The dynamic deal ticket offers are being made available and they start as low as $8. Go to sfgiants.com/dynamic deals and take advantage.
So here's Blanco. Blanco's 2 for 2. His last at bat, he bunted his way on. He takes a strike.
He's had a great start to the season.
On the ground to Utley.
Blanco's one of those guys really easy to root for. As you see the garden out behind center field. Right behind the center field fence is a garden that is gorgeous. They serve all that is growing out there in the garden at the little restaurant out there. And there you see the bar.
It's the perfect place to say, meet me at the garden.
Meet me at the garden. If we get separated, I'll see you at the garden.
Crawford takes outside for a ball. Crawford is rolled out to second. Actually hit the ball very hard to second. And then Walker Buehler struck him out in the second inning. Rolled out of the first, struck out in the second as this is high and foul and out of play.
Buehler had a rocky first inning, and then after that, I mean, he really has settled down. He has been very good today. One of the things that has impressed us are those pitches right there. When he's had 2 strikes on a hitter, he's throwing some really great 2-strike pitches.
Hit out into left center field where Taylor will make the catch. And here's McCutchen. McCutchen has walked and he struck out. And he takes outside and high. And a breaking ball that flops in for a strike. No Longoria or Posey in the lineup, so it may very well be that McCutchen will not be in the lineup for the second game.
Yeah, you kind of spread the innings out amongst your crew,
especially your veteran guys. And a base hit for McCutchen.
You know, and it's not so much the day of the doubleheader. Guys get through it. But it's tomorrow when you wake up, it's like, ouch. Knees and hips are sore, ankles. It's been a long time on your feet. Especially in games like this with Giants. Their defense has been on the field a long time today.
Twelve hits, 5 walks, a hit batter. I 1-0 to Belt. Little pop-up. Farmer at third, and that'll end the inning. No runs, a hit, 1 left through 5. The Garden, 9-2 Dodgers. All new franchise mode and much more. It's available now. Learn more at RBI.com. Rated E for everyone. Here's Derek Law to face Austin Barnes. We have some changes. Barnes takes outside. Just newly called up, Alan Hansen's now at second base. Tomlinson moves from second to short, so Crawford's out. And McCutchen's out of the game as Gorky Hernandez goes in right field. So those are your changes. It's 9-2 Dodgers. And it's 1-2. Nice pitch. Got him. Check in with Amy G. Amy.
I'm with one of our friends here, Bruce Bochy. All right, last Saturday, more than 3,000 people participated in the annual Sacramento Giant Race, crossing the finish line at Rayleigh Field, home to the Giants AAA affiliate. And you got some more races coming up. In San Jose, you're going to have one June 2nd. And then the 9th annual San Francisco Giant Race will be on September 9th. Dwayne, I expect to see you in that. Fun prizes for all of those who cross the finish line, like the Bruce Bochy bobblehead. More info at www.giantrace.com.
Me and Archie will be there.
Yep. Well, there's the skipper crossing the finish line.
Yeah, I thought his legs were a little longer.
He's got cankles.
Foul down the right field line and out of play. Not in real life.
No. Just in his bobblehead. Calf and the ankles. Kind of the same deal. Although tube socks can do that to you.
Little flip job down the right field line. It's going to be a base hit for Farmer. And Gorky Hernandez made it mildly interesting, and it's a double. Farmer joins the party. He's now 1 for 2. And here's Muncy. See the 7 extra base hits today.
Oh, no doubt about it. Dodgers brought their hitting shoes today.
Muncy doubled in the 3rd. And a base hit to left field. Moving Farmer to 3rd. And Buehler's going to hit. Buehler is 0 for 2. Actually 0 for 3.
He's got a pretty good swing, though. I mean, he hit 2 of those balls when he grounded out to, well, especially 3rd base. Hit that ball well. Enough to where you'd think, all right, this guy's got a pretty good clue with the bat in his hand.
And a bunt attempt, and he missed. It's 0-1.
That was the bunt sign you never really like to get if you're up by 7 runs. And all Dave Roberts wants to do is get this kid back to the dugout. But if you're in the batter's box and you get the bunt sign, you miss. Teams who are down by 7 runs, they could take offense to that. Remember Dyer Miller?
Sure.
I was in New York one day, and he was pitching for the Mets, and we had like a 10-1 lead, and I get the bunt sign, and I bunted it foul. And then I get the bunt sign again, next pitch, and I scored the bunt, and he threw one right through my helmet.
So he clearly didn't think that was a good idea.
No, he didn't. And I think it was Bad Dude Stearns who was catching. I said, how did you put the bunt sign on? And you know what the dude said? Then you have to tell your manager you missed it.
Yeah, okay.
Pay the fine.
The dude. So Buehler's out. And that'll bring up Taylor. Taylor, a walk, a home run, a ground out on a nice play by Crawford, and a single. And a nice breaking ball from Long. It's a home run in the second. It opened up the second.
Now this is on an 0-2 count. I mean, this is just after Chris Stratton had thrown one of the best curveballs he threw all day to get to the 0-2 count, and he comes back with another curveball and just hung it right out of the middle. And Chris Taylor made him pay. Just not Chris Stratton's day. He hasn't had any of these get knocked out of the second inning all year long. So on a day when he just got back with the club, coming back from Mississippi where he went home to join his wife with the birth of their second child, clearly he was not himself today.
Blown away, 2-1, so maybe knocked him out of his rhythm a little bit.
Watch last pitch. Watch Bell come off the base and watch what happens to him. Yep. Yeah, he's thinking, I wonder if anybody saw that. Yep.
Hey, happens in fantasy camp. It's time to go home.
You're right.
2-2. 3-2.
Every once in a while, those size 15s can kind of get tangled up with one another.
So 3-2.
I hope he didn't twist his ankle.
Really. Runner goes. Line drive. Blanco got to play it on a hop, and then it gets by him. One run's going to score. The back runner Muncie's going to score. And Taylor's got a hit and at least one RBI. And he'll be at second base.
Well, Gregor Blanco, I mean, he's trying to make something out of nothing. He gets too close and it scoots by him. So they giving him an error on that?
Yeah.
So he indeed is going to be given an error, single and an error, and one RBI.
Reminds me of Kansas City.
Yeah, you're right. Game 7.
Well, a different kind of a game.
Yeah.
Here's Utley. Utley takes a strike. Utley knocks it down. Utley's been on base 3 times. His last at bat, he popped out.
It's a good curveball. Derek Claus had a good curveball today. It's one of the best curveballs we've seen him have all year.
Utley taps it foul.
Giants pitching coach Kurt Young got kicked out of the game today. And why I bring that up is that's only the second time it's ever happened to him as a as a pitching coach. He got tossed one time as a player. But he was disgusted with the strike zone and pitches that were called or weren't called.
Well, plus one particular call to Utley that caused the Giants to cough up a couple of runs in the third.
Well, and Kurt Young's might have caused his pitcher to have to pitch more pitches.
If Utley is called out, that ends the inning. And if you just play the innings along, then for Gomez, in 3+ innings, he only allows 1 run. Here it's 3-2. And a base hit to right field. Utley's digging for 2, and that's his 3rd double of the game.
Continues to torment the Giants. I mean, that is something that he has really done a good job of ever since he's come over to the Giants. I mean, or to the Dodgers. I mean, you go back to when he was a Philly. I mean, he's just a great player. But it almost seems like he turns it up a notch against the Giants. And here's a breaking ball, and that is a hanger. '30th pitch for Derek Law.
Well, at this rate, he's not going to be able to close it out.
Oh, no. No, he's not going to be able to close it out. I mean, you may see Gorkis Hernandez pitch the 9th inning.
You know, you might. To Blanco, and that'll end the inning. Bottom of the 6th coming up. 12-2 Dodgers. Oil change, tune-up and smog experts.
So Ross Stripling, new pitcher now for the Dodgers. Take a look at the numbers he's had. They've been fantastic. Stripling, another guy with a high 3/4 release. And he's a 4-pitch guy, having been a starter.
Sandoval with a swing and a miss. He knocked in a run with a base hit in the 1st. with Slater and then Hundley. Two and one. Two and two.
You know, you have a game that's a blowout. I mean, the one down part of having it in front of your hometown fans, number one, they get to see it. But number two is you can't hide. You've got to pitch 9 innings. You're on the road and you have a stinker. You only have to be responsible for 8 innings. Well, that's a significant thing in a day-night doubleheader day where you've got to come up with somebody to pitch that 9th inning. And the concern for Kurt Young and for Bruce Bochy is having innings to protect your staff in the 9th or the nightcap. Talked about the importance of the starting staff going a little bit deeper today, take a little pressure off your bullpen. Well, the worst possible scenario happened today with Stratton getting knocked out in the 2nd inning. The Giants had to come up with 5+ innings last night's ball game. So that's a lot of work for the bullpen back to back. And remember, we got a night game. So for Johnny Cueto, I mean, Giants need him to eat up some innings.
Flipped out to left, and Peterson will make the catch. The happy hour weekdays, Greg Papa, Ray Ratto, and Kelly Johnson. They bring you the happy hour on NBC Sports Bay Area and NBCSportsBayArea.com. Also available to listen live as the podcast on the NBCSportsBayArea.com. To your point, Mike, Johnson, Guerin, Dyson, and Watson all pitched last night, and the Giants win. And they all threw over 20 pitches. Strickland, who pitched 1 inning, threw 14. So there's pitches in all of those guys, but you still have to be aware of how many they threw last night. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Mother-daughter enjoying the game. She didn't care what the score is. She's having fun.
1 and 2. Hundley on deck.
Down there in the Alaska Airlines booth, right field side. The loft.
Slater right back to Strickland. 2 outs. That's where, for the Fan Fest, Tito, Irwin, ABG, John, and myself, that's where we were located for 3 hours. And we had a ball. Because you know what was right next door? The Gotham Club. And you know what they have in the Gotham Club?
Oh, they have a big bar.
A bar.
Yes, they do.
And they have a door that actually works very well that opens from the Gotham Club.
Gotham Club's unbelievable. I was out there the other night, had a dinner.
Hundley fouls it back and out of play.
Hosted by Walter Robb and his sons Chris and Ted.
Yeah, we had a good time. A lot of laughs. We told stories that me and you have never told before.
It's true.
Not true.
Only 100 times or so. I still enjoy them.
Low, 1 and 2. Yeah, it was the broadcasters that he hosted.
Dave Fleming, his wife Jess were there. John Miller, you were there with your daughter Dannon and son-in-law Zach. It's a fun night.
It was a fun night. Hundley strikes out swinging. We'll go to the 7th. It's 12-3. Dodgers. All Dodgers today, it started out with 3 in the first, 3 in the second, 2 in the third, and then it just progressed to a 12-2 lead. Walker Buehler, hey, it's nice to have 12 runs, but he pitched well and a lot of extra base hits for the Dodgers. So Law is going to face Bellinger and then Peterson and then Barnes. And a slowly hit ball to Tomlinson. 1 out.
Well, Xfinity X1 customers say, show me the San Francisco Giants into your X1 voice remote. Get live stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1.
So here's Peterson, who's 3 for 4. One home run with all these extra base hits, and that was by Taylor. The guy who got the workout today was Andrew McCutchen in right field. The ball's over his head in Triple's alley. He was running all afternoon.
Derek Law stopped abruptly there for some reason. If you, as a pitcher, think the guy's up there peeking, you don't want a hitter looking back out of the corner of his eyes, trying to see where the catcher's setting up his location. That's why I used to always wonder when guys wear mirrored sunglasses in the batter's box where you couldn't see their eyes as to whether or not they were peekers. Jeff Kent used to do it. And when he was playing, I mean, he would never admit to peeking, but when he retired,
He did. Of course he did.
it's like, yo, Jeff, serious business. You had the mirrored sunglasses on. Were you peeking? He goes, yep. See if a catcher's setting up inside, outside.
So the 1 out walk, and here's Barnes. Barnes hasn't joined the party. He's been on base twice, but he's 0 for 2. So here he is in his 5th at bat here in the 7th. Farmer on deck, and then Muncy. On the ground to Hansen. He will get it to Tomlinson, but not in time. Rolled up the arm of Hansen just a little bit. 4-6 on the fielder's choice.
Well, yeah, remember Austin Barnes. I mean, he's not like a normal catcher. Man, he can run. Let's take a look at the turn. Hansen to Tomlinson. Just not enough time. Ball not hit hard enough.
Plus, as a shortstop, you're timing that second baseman into his throw, and just that little hesitation can throw that timing off. So Farmer hit by a pitch. Second Dodger hit. Barnes was hit in the 4th.
Like Farmer got it in the hand. So Dave Roberts going to come out. That was a direct hit. The other thing too is your hand kind of wraps around the knob and it can pinch. But boy, Farmer's a catcher. I mean, those guys are tough. I think just about everybody up here is tough, gets to this level. But when you get hit on the hand, it's hard to shake that off.
Yeah, and a lot of times, Mike, you can tell. I mean, Madison Bumgarner, I think, said that when he got hit in spring training, he could tell right away.
Hunter Pence, a couple years of spring training, got hit in the hand. He said, I knew running down the line, I was in trouble.
So 2 outs. Here's Muncy. And a strike to Muncy. Muncy's got a couple of hits. There's a strike, 0-2.
And for Derek Law, he's getting extended now pitch count wise. You get up to, you're over what you normally are responsible for in regards to pitches. You start to fatigue, you start to try and make up for it. You drag your arm, you hit somebody, and not intentionally.
Nice pitch, and that'll end the inning. Bottom of the 7th coming up for the Giants. Shelby Tomlinson will hit first.
Insurance and financial services for you and your business. Visit hefins.com. By Xfinity. X1 will change the way you experience TV. And by Kelly Moore Paints. Go where the pros go. Kelly Moore, the painter's paint store.
12-2 Dodgers. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. Your trusted oil change, tune-up, and smog experts.
Pedro Baez, the new pitcher now for Dave Roberts. 13th time that he's come in, 0-1 with a 2.31 ERA. Good strikeout ratio, 16 and 11 and 2/3 innings. Hard thrower, mid to high 90s with a slider and a real good changeup. You'll see more changeups than sliders.
A lot of changes, and we'll get those to you here in a minute. As Baez is going to throw to Tomlinson. Derek Law is on deck. He's going to get a chance to hit. And a strike. Fouled out of play. Chris Taylor moves from center to short. Peterson moves from left to right. Muncy is now in left. Grandal is at first. Out of play.
It is really an amazing thing, and we see it just about every series now, where you see a guy who's a catcher move out the middle infielder, a guy who's a shortstop all of a sudden move out to center field, and vice versa.
So Tomlinson out swinging.
And basically, this generation of ball player, I mean, they are very versatile. So for Chris Taylor coming from center field to shortstop, we really shouldn't be that surprised. We've already seen Austin Barnes start a game at second, start a game behind the plate catching. Chris Owings, the super utility player with the Arizona Diamondbacks. We've seen him play all outfield positions, all infield positions.
Mike, it's a product of organizations allowing players to do that. As Law has a base hit. I mean, years ago, even when we played, you're a second baseman.
Well, there's a highlight right there for the Giants. First major league hit for Derek Law. How about that? Well, you're right. I mean, before you'd have guys who were basically specialists to one position. Now guys change position so much, it's not any big deal at all.
Here's Blanco, 2 for 3. Look out, 1 ball and no strikes. Hansen, Alan Hansen's on deck. Blanco out of play, got a fastball in. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Double headers. Some guys have had some amazing days in double headers, not just with the bat, but pitchers as well. It's a big deal when you see a relief pitcher, a closer, get 2 saves in one day.
It's always cool.
I remember one time, Jerry Royce, who was pitching with the Dodgers, picked up an extended game, started the game basically on a game that had been suspended. So he picks it up, pitches the last 4 innings of that game, gets the win. Then he starts the next game, and he goes 5 innings, and he gets the win as a starter. He got 2 wins in one day.
Well, you could only do that in the old style doubleheaders. If you had the 3 or 4 hour break, you couldn't do it.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy Garoppolo's here.
You know, he's probably either a White Sox or a Cubs fan. But it's nice to know that he's turned the page.
That's what we're saying.
Now a Giants fan. Blanco lines it into center field. It's going to fall.
3-hit day for Gregor Blanco.
Yeah, there you go, Gregor. So here's Hansen. Yeah, that's a name we're probably going to hear a lot of. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Didn't take him long to capture the Bay Area, did it?
No, not long at all.
Like maybe 3 games.
Or the first time he dropped back to throw a pass. It's pretty quick. Well, welcome Alan Hansen, newest Giants. He's got a little over a year's time at the big league level. Came up with the Pirates originally. Was with the White Sox last year, as well as with the Pirates. Giants signed Alan Hansen in December of last year, minor league contract. So he came to camp this year as a minor league invitee. But boy, did he light it up in Sacramento. Sitting 403. And not just singles either. 5 doubles, triple, 3 homers, 6 stolen bases. This is all in 18 games with the River Cats.
With Bruce Bochy slow playing a lot of the Giants veterans, Hansen got a lot of opportunity to play in spring training. I think he played in every game I broadcasted.
Yeah.
And he played all over. He played all the infield positions. I think he even got into the outfield a couple times.
Hansen from the Dominican Republic. Switch hitter.
Drives one to deep right center field. It is way back, and it is out of here. Take it easy, kid. You can trot the rest of the way.
Welcome to San Francisco, Alan Hansen. That'll be it. It always starts with a good pitch to hit. And he gets a gift middle in at 94. And he unloads on it. That was not a cheap part of the yard where he just hit that ball out of. Well, let's watch it on the splash cam. See ya. They're going to check and see if there was interference with the fan. I don't think there was.
I don't think so either. Should be the fastest call of the year.
This replay review is presented by Xfinity.
Well, that swing of the bat might get Hansen into the lineup tonight.
We talked about how hot he was in Sacramento, hitting 408. So you see this type of a drive, that's a home run. I don't know why we're waiting. Guy did not lean over and take one away. Make it a home run. That would have gone over the wall, I think, in our humble opinion. Here we go.
First of all, let me clarify that it's gone. I've never been around you where your opinion was humble.
Oh, New York has humbled me. Let's take one more look at the 409-foot home run off the bat of Alan Hansen. His first at bat at the big league level with the Giants. And that's how you make an impact.
Yeah, it's about as far as you can go in this park. I mean, he could have gone over a little bit more to the left, but it's not called Home Run Alley. Let's put it that way.
No, it's not. There is no home run alley here.
If you can poke it down the right field line, that would be Home Run Alley. But since we've been here, that doesn't happen very often. This is Gorkis Hernandez. Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. So three hits in a row. Law, Blanco, and then Hansen.
I think one of the coolest things about a home run is very seldom you see a home run that gets hit that doesn't feel good in the hands of a hitter. I mean, we saw Bryce Harper last week hit a ball that broke his bat in half. Ball went out in Citi Field, New York. We saw Barry Bonds do that in Miami. But when you hit a home run, it feels good in your hands. Like right now, I mean, you can still feel that vibration, that perfect vibration of the wood when the ball meets the sweet spot on a bat.
Hernandez flips one over Utley for a hit. So if the intention for Dave Roberts was to get Baez some work, kind of hurts your ERA a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. The Giants right now would love to get Kenley Jansen into this game. It all started out with a one-out first big league base hit from Derek Law, the greatest comeback in Giants history. Well, not really. Their history's pretty long. I'm sure there's one better than this.
Baez's ERA coming in was 2.31. It's now 4.50.
And it can happen that quickly.
So here's Belt. And Belt takes inside. The pitch to Belt. Belt takes outside. Baez the high set in the 2-0, and Belt fouls it back. Hernandez goes, and look out, and he'll steal it. So it's 3-1 to Belt, and now the bullpen is up for the Dodgers. That's Hanson. He hit the home run this inning. Three balls, one strike. Belt hooks this one foul.
Well, where Yasmani Grandal was playing first base, he was literally about 8 feet off the first base line. I don't think you could hit a ball by him on his glove hand side that would be fair.
No, I think you're right. If it's a fair ball, he's out. Belt takes the walk.
Keep the line moving.
So here's the Panda. Sandoval 1 for 3.
That's going to be it for Baez.
Well, they're going to switch Sandoval around to hit right-handed. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. Your trusted oil change tune-up and smog experts. We'll be back. There's Adam Liberatore.
Liberatore was the 26th man added to this doubleheader. Fifth time he has come up this year. Got a good fastball, and it'll go low to mid-90s. Slider and a changeup.
Here's the Panda.
Liberatore about as far on the third base side of that pitching rubber as you could get. It's just been that kind of strike zone all day. It's been squirrely. It is not Trip Gibson's strength.
This is possibly playable for Grandal, and he missed it. It was a whiff.
That might be an error too.
Grandal looked up in the sky like the sun was in his eyes.
Well, you can tell by the shadows, the sun's not really an issue right now. He just whiffed.
He hit his glove.
And indeed, it has been ruled in there.
There's that gaze to the sky. Each team now has committed an error. Blanco committed one. Sandoval digs it out.
Josh Fields' interesting routine as he stretches out.
Sandoval in a good battle. Hansen hit a home run about 2 innings ago. Oh no, that was this inning. You know, one thing, Mike, is Giants have had to use their bullpen, not some of their key guys. I don't know if you can say that today about the Dodgers. They've had to use some of their key guys.
Still a lot of baseball left too. I think Pat Bochy would be happy if he could get some of the back-enders into this game. Because it would mean, number one, he'd have a chance to get back in this game and possibly win this game. And number two, getting him in the game would have something to do with tonight's ball game as well. So still a lot to be determined here. And there's only one out here. Get a big hit here, all of a sudden, guess what? You start to think you can come back.
Pablo's throwing out a pretty good at bat here, right in.
It really is. You're right. As soon as Josh Fields got up in the Dodger bullpen, you started thinking about, wow, that's one of their back end guys.
Here's the payoff. Got him. Great pitch to Sandoval. 2 down. So here's Slater. Let's see what Slater can do. Slater had an infield hit way back in the first inning. Little dribbler, first base side, and Liebertor is going to end the inning with 2 outs to Sandoval and Slater. Hey, Alan Hansen, bye-bye baby. First at bat of the year, he goes yard. It's 12-5. Game 2 of this day-night doubleheader will start at 7. Pregame live will be at 6:30, and it's right here on NBC Sports Bay Area. So Law is going to face Grandal. So Grandal, who came into the game, will now get an at-bat. Here in the 8th, and he takes a called strike. High fly ball to left field for Slater, and the kid from Stanford puts it away. So 2 pitches in and out, and here's Taylor. Taylor singled against Law in the 6th inning. Here he rolls this one to Tomlinson. And Tomlinson will make the play. All right, on this long ball game, let's check in with Amy G. Amy?
All right, gentlemen. Well, Chris Stratton, not a great day for him, but hey, he's got a lot to look forward to in life, because this week he and his lovely wife, Martha Kate, welcomed new baby girl, Mary Bennett. She was born April 25th, 11:53 p.m. She weighed in at a healthy 8 pounds and 4 ounces. This is baby number 2 for the Strattons. They have a son named Mac, and according to Martha Kate's Instagram, Mac is already a very big brother. So you know that Chris Stratton needs to just look at a picture of that baby girl, and everything's going to be all right, guys.
Well, Amy, the age difference looks like maybe the same age difference with your kids. Older brother, younger sister. There's a base hit to left field for Utley. And that's Utley's 4th hit. And that'll bring up Kemp.
Utley started the game hitting 277. He's now at 327 with that swing of the bat.
Kemp injured himself in the game yesterday, running the bases, scoring on an extra base hit. And it's down low. Swing. Kemp is having a nice year.
Well, I mean, he wasn't even supposed to make the team. He had such a great spring. Lost a lot of weight.
Yes, he did.
And he said he's in the best shape of his life. Well, it has absolutely made him a better player than he was last year. Came to camp, lit it up. Might not be in the everyday starting left fielder for this Dodger team.
And he shoots it into right field, a base hit. So Kemp aboard, and here's Bellinger.
Hey.
So here's Bellinger. Bellinger takes high. Bellinger 2 for 4 with a walk. And he takes high again. It's 2-0. Now it looks like Corey Guerin is starting to throw. Good pitch, 2 balls and 1 strike. Law looks to second and throws, and Bellinger takes a strike.
Good fastball location with 94. You know, the day-night doubleheader poses so many different scenarios for managers and pitching coaches. And they have a general plan going into the day.
Flare to left, and it's going to fall. So Bellinger picks up a bloop. Coming in to score is Utley. So that's 3 hits in a row after 2 outs. And it's 19 hits for the Dodgers, and here's Peterson.
You know, you go into a doubleheader and you have a general outline as to how you want the day to go, how you want to use people, different scenarios for if things go awry or if they stay on course. Matt Herges now, who is the bullpen coach, now with Kurt Young, who had been tossed out of the game, he's going to come out and have a little talk with Derek Law, just to give Corey Guerin a chance to get loose in the Giants pen. But what happens with a plan, when you have a pitcher get knocked out in the second inning, all bets are off. Now you're scrambling. And now you have to do the one thing that pitching coaches and managers do not like to do, and that's extend guys. ask guys who, you know, who are 50 pitch guys, ask them to go 70 pitches.
Well, Bruce Bochy's not a fan of using a position player. And I think and I'm guessing, and I shouldn't guess, but I think he said he's maybe done it once in his career as a manager. He doesn't like to do it.
Well, I mean, it's fun. And in a blowout where you're getting beat bad, you want to bring some levity back into your clubhouse, throw an everyday player in there. However, if that guy gets hurt, it's no longer fun.
Down the left field line, Slater's going to give chase, and it shoots by him. And 2 more runs are going to score. Maybe not. Here's the throw home. And safe at home is Bellinger as the ball came out of the glove of Hundley.
Watch the relay from Kelby Tomlinson. And just Hundley not able to maintain the throw one-handed. So that's going to end it for Law.
So we're going to take a break as Corey Guerin comes in. It's 15-5 Giants. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your trusted oil change, tune-up, and smog experts. So here's Austin Barnes. And Barnes gets hit. Well, this is going to have to stop.
That's the 3rd Dodger that's been hit. And that's the look you get on a manager's face when 3 of your guys have been hit.
So here's Farmer. And a strike to Farmer. Farmer was hit by a pitch, hit in the hand in the 7th inning. Way outside. Nice play by Hundley.
I don't know how he got that. Hundley has no idea how he got that. I mean, he had to go almost 4 feet outside into the left-handed batter's box.
that's tapped foul. 1-2.
And here's that pitch we're talking about. I was not exaggerating when I said 4 feet. I mean, Hundley going way backhanded across his body.
Hit out to Slater in left field. And that'll end the inning. So 3 runs after 2 outs, and it's 15-5. Hear your Giants broadcast on your desktop or mobile device. Giants game streamed on the go on the NBC Sports app. So the new pitcher is Josh Fields.
Take a look at his year. It's been outstanding. He's got good stuff. 14 strikeouts at 11 1/3. With Josh Fields, you're going to see a good fastball, low to mid 90s, curveball and a slider.
Hundley's 1 for 3. Hundley hits a high drive to left. Muncy back. It is out of here. So Hundley hits his second of the year.
Yeah, I mean, catchers jumping on the first fastball. And the reason I say that is, well, the Giants have hit 3 of the Dodgers today. You don't know if they're going to retaliate. You don't know what they're going to do. But Hundley can care less. No fear. Up there, look at the first fastball he gets, knocks it out of here.
Yeah, put the first one in place so they don't change their mind.
Well, I mean, I know a lot of guys who are taking a pitch there.
High to Tomlinson.
And here's what it'll look from the splash cam. See ya.
So Fields, his ERA is 0.79. And that's the first home run that he's allowed this year. And that's out of play. 2-2.
Yep, look who got it. That's a happy boy.
It is. Big chopper. And a hit.
I got to get a second chance with Kelby Thomas. That if you're a midfielder crashing in on that, it has to be perfect. And even then, you're probably not going to get it. Once this ball hits off a home plate, it was going to be a hit. High bounce. And Farmer knew it. It was do or die.
Here's Austin Jackson. Jackson takes high. Runner goes, swinging a pop-up. Tomlinson's going to have to scurry back, but this is going to be out of play. The Arizona Diamondbacks continue to win series. In extra innings today, they beat the Nationals 4-3, so that wins the series. And they haven't lost one yet this year.
Playing great baseball.
Yes, they are. 1-2.
A healthy fastball from Josh Fields at 96. Well, the strength of that Diamondback team has been that starting rotation. They've been very good.
Jackson skies one to left. So Muncy makes the catch. So here's Gregor Blanco. Gregor Blanco is 3 for 4. And a healthy rip and a foul back. 3 for 4 to get that average up to 319. Came in at 279.
I mean, April's kind of a fun month, just if you like batting averages, because things can change dramatically. Guy gets hot. See him put 70 points on a batting average in a series. That's something you could do in August or September. Verdict's kind of in.
So we say goodbye to April, what, on Tuesday?
Yeah, just 30 days in this month of April.
And tight, 1-2.
With the season starting in late March this year, I mean, April has seemed like a long month.
Yeah.
And the 30-day month never really seems like a long month. Smile smooth, he's got you. Shark fan.
Two and 2 to Blanco. Yeah, it used to be you didn't want to get any of your hits in March. Now it's okay for a couple of days.
That's right. Season starting this year.
On the ground to Utley. And that's all they'll get. Blanco reaches on the fielder's choice. And here's Hansen.
Yeah, the season started what, March 29th. But
by the way, the player for the month of March is Joe Panik. 2 home runs to win games.
well, that's how the season started. First 2 games in Los Angeles, they won both those games 1-0. And Panik hit home runs in both those games. One off Kershaw, one off Kenley Jansen.
Player of the month of March. Hanson's home run went right out into Triple's alley.
And that's how he starts his career in San Francisco off. Yeah, I think I agree with you with Joe Panik being the player of the month of March. I mean, there's only 3 days of March, but still pretty definitive.
Hunley with a home run this inning. Corquis Hernandez on deck. And on the 3-1 pitch, it's popped out to short for Taylor. And that'll end the inning. So Hunley with his 2nd of the year. And when it leaves the yard, it's bye-bye baby. 9th inning coming up. All Dodgers. Well, here it's 15-6, and we have an interesting turn of events. Pablo Sandoval is going to pitch, and they're asking him to cut this thing off his wrist. Such a big deal.
Well, it's the rules. You can't have any sweatbands or anything on your wrist if you're going to go out there and pitch. When he was announced as when he was going to pitch this inning, and you can see Kenley Jansen enjoying this. I think pitchers like it when everyday players get out there and they actually feel what it's like to be on that little bump in the middle of the infield. Last position player to pitch for the Giants was July 4th of 1991 when Greg Litton did it against the Astros.
So Muncy is going to be the hitter. And this is rolled out to Hansen. 1 out. Now all of a sudden it got interesting in the Giants dugout. Now everybody's up against the rail.
Well, this is one way to bring levity back into your clubhouse after you've had a tough game.
Big curveball in for a strike.
I mean, there's no scout report on Sandoval as to what he has.
I'll tell you what he does have is the ability to get the ball back and throw.
Yeah, he's rock and roll. Here's the curveball. Perfect.
So he's 2 for 3 in the curveball department. 2 and 2.
87-mile-an-hour fastball.
Hit on the ground. 2 down.
And levity not only in the Giants clubhouse and dugout, but in this ballpark as well. You see his motion? I mean, not a bad motion. Hand in a great position. I mean, this is looks like he does it for a living.
Here's Taylor. I can assure you, and you will agree with this, that he's not afraid to do anything on the field.
No, he is not. Strike throw machine. You might see him in the nightcap as well. It's a good curveball.
He throws him another one and it's popped back and out of play.
Well, the fans are into it. The ones that have stuck around, I mean, this effort goes a long way.
Slowly hit. Tomlinson to Belt. And 3 ground balls, and Sandoval gets the Dodgers 1-2-3 for the first time in this game here in the ninth.
Nothing to it, Pablo. And look at the smiles. First time there's been smiles in that dugout all day. And the Panda brought it.
Well, you know, at this Scott Alexander is the new pitcher. And there's a look at Alexander. The Giants saw Alexander for an inning last night.
Sinking ball, a lefty. You see a low 90s fastball and a slider for the most part from Alexander.
I guess if you look back at who was available, it would either be Belt or Sandoval, right?
Yeah. Well, Belt's been lobbying for an inning for a long time.
But I think given that Belt is an everyday guy, less risk with Sandoval. Belt might try to throw the ball 100 miles an hour and get hurt.
Yeah, true. I mean, Belt was a pitcher in college.
Sandoval, good breaking ball.
Hey, great athlete.
There's a pitch outside to Gorkis Hernandez from Alexander.
Remember when Pablo Sandoval was born, he was naturally left-handed. He learned to throw right-handed because there was more positions on the field to play if you were a right-handed player.
Well, it would have been nice if Utley would have come up and he'd have thrown left-handed.
We've seen him throw a ball over the wall, standing at home plate, throwing a ball over the wall in right field. I mean, he's done that. Left-handed.
Pulled on the ground, foul. And maybe Farmer's happy about that. Hey, it's been a long game for everybody. But I will tell you that top of the ninth was pretty cool. There were people leaving until they heard Sandoval was going to pitch, and they turned around and came back.
I would.
And he is due to hit third this inning, so it's likely he's going to get a very, very nice ovation, as you would expect. So Alexander strikes out Gorkis Hernandez, and here's Belt. Belt is 0 for 3 with a walk. On the ground. 2 down. And here's Papa.
Here he is, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
Number
he's
28,
getting a standing ovation. And there is love for the Panda. On a day where the Giants have not had much to cheer about, even the Dodger fans are up off their feet.
And a strike to Sandoval. Swing. Sandoval in this game is 1 for 4. And that pitch is down low. The 1-2 is down low. Here's the 2-2 to Sandoval. And it's low, 3-2.
So 0-2 to a 3-2.
And the walk. And Slater's going to get another shot. Slater will be happy with that.
Oh yeah, if he gets a hit here, make it a 2-hit day. First start of the year. Activated before the game when Mac Williamson was put on the concussion DL.
Down and in to Slater. The longer this game goes, the quicker the cleanup crew is going to have to work to get this stadium clean. And right now, if it ends now, they're only going to have an hour, maybe less than that, waiting for the people to leave. And I mean, the crews are ready to go. There's a Tapper foul. But you figure an average 9-inning game is 3 hours. That was going to give them 2 hours to clean it out, right?
Right.
Wrong.
That was the plan. Well, he didn't figure on close to a 4-hour ball game, but that's where we're at. First inning took about an hour in itself.
On the ground. And that is finally the ball game. So it took 3 hours and 53 minutes to play it. And the Giants are disappointed because, in all honesty, they thought they had the right guy on the mound. But it just did not happen for Chris Stratton.
Well, you're right. It was not Chris Stratton's day. I mean, Chris Stratton, who experienced the birth of his second child earlier in the week, flew back into San Francisco from Mississippi, and he just was flat today. I mean, everything just unlike Chris Stratton. I mean, no command of all of his pitches, and to the Dodgers' credit, they took advantage of it, and that was the difference in this game.
So here at AT&T Park, game one of this day-nighter, it's the Dodgers 15 and the Giants 6. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for Giants Postgame Live, presented by Toyota, which starts right now.